You not ready?
I wasn't.
Unbelievable.
I wasn't. I'm not used to you getting here this fast.
Thank you. You're right. That's a good one.
When you see Draymond, when you see Draymond like have a rough game or a game that he says wasn't up to his par, how much have you grown to come to expect him to bounce back from that?
That is the expectation. There's no other way, no other scenario where um, I see it playing out any different than him coming out with the right energy, focus, just making his impact, felt on the court. I know he takes all that stuff personally in terms of his standard and what he knows he can do out there on the floor. So when he doesn't meet that, he's usually pretty honest and accountable to himself first and foremost, to the team, and then you go out and hoop. So we all go through that at some point. And you don't win championships and be the team that we are if you don't have that in your DNA at some point. So we got to go out and prove it. Draymond included.
Question on the left.
Tomer Zarda from Clutch Point. Steph, it's kind of a two-parter. Where have you made the biggest growth since you guys' last championship, you think? And after a loss, do you even get to a point where you're down about it, or are you at a point where you're able to just move on and there's so much left going on?
I mean, if you're not down about it, you're not in your feelings, then that's a problem because then it doesn't matter. You have to feel it. How much it lingers, that's the test of, to Marcus' question, just how do you bounce back? You go home after the game, you're probably thinking about every play that happened, what you could have done differently. Was a defensive rotation, a shot that would have went in, a decision you make, whatever it is, those things kind of, circle in your head. You probably lose a little bit of sleep that first night. Then you come back the next day and realize you have an opportunity to protect your home court again on Sunday, and just keep things moving and get yourselves back into the series. So the locker room after the game one was rough. Like we all know the opportunity that we let slip in terms of that fourth quarter, but it doesn't kill your confidence that you can't come out Sunday and win that game. And that's what we're going. That's what we're going to do. So, not much has changed from the last, from 18 or any of those finals appearances, and really in terms of me personally, how I've evolved is just continue to try to play at a high level, understand the game, understand the things that can happen in the playoff series and in the finals, and adjust accordingly as you go through it.
Monty in the middle.
After going through the video of the game, what are the things you saw, and what's your reaction to what you saw? And do you think you played with enough defensive, force over the course of the game?
There were spurts, not over the whole course of the game. They're a great team. They have a lot of different weapons, a lot of threats. Guys had some amazing nights shooting the basketball. So you understand that some of the mistakes we made, they took advantage of it. We could have made the same mistakes. They could have missed some shots, and we might be having a different conversation. But the way it played out, I think early in the game there were some defensive breakdowns and some lack of physicality that gave some of the guys some confidence, and then that carried over through the rest of the game. And in the fourth quarter, you could just feel the momentum just shifting dramatically, and the avalanche started. So we have to come out with a sense of desperation, first quarter, and really cement ourselves in terms of what we're trying to do. Play with the same joy, the same aggressiveness that we always do, but have to sustain it over 48. It's crazy saying that. That's what it should be like in the finals, with two great teams going at it.
Tim Reynolds, Associated Press. Steph, you guys have had that crazy streak. I think it's like 26 consecutive series with a road win. Boston is 8-2 on the road in these playoffs. I mean, obviously you got to be really, really good to get to the finals, but how does really, really good become really, really great on the road? Like, what's the defining characteristic that a team has to have to consistently win on the road at this level?
The ability to win games a lot of different ways. Even if shots aren't falling, you can buckle down and get stops. If shots are falling, you capitalize on that momentum, kind of like Boston did in the fourth. Um, and there's really no panic. I think our experience, we've been down big on the road and come back. We've won some ugly games on the road, low scoring games. We've won some shootouts. Like it's a lot of different scenarios that you find yourself in, and you have to be prepared and have the personnel and the resiliency to kind of be able to live in those moments. And there's just a lot of chemistry and toughness that shows up in the biggest of moments. So, like you said, it's two great teams that have demonstrated the ability to go outside of their home and get wins. We're obviously going to have to do that one time to win this series, but obviously for us it starts protecting our home court on Sunday.
Mark?
Hey, Steph, what's been your message to Jordan on what it'll take to bounce back in Game 2?
Be yourself. I guess feel what you remember what it felt like, in terms of your adrenaline and your emotions coming out, in the game. Try to get yourself, asserted, maybe slow down just a little bit to kind of see the pictures a little bit better. But you didn't have to change anything about, the way he plays or the way he attacks or where, he feels the most confident in terms of making an impact on the game. You just have to be able to bottle up those emotions and the adrenaline, because it is different. It's a different experience being, knowing it's the finals and you go through that in your first experience. It's a little different. So don't want to over communicate to him on that front and clog his mind with anything other than just going out and having fun and playing basketball.
Melissa on the right?
Hey, Steph. I know you're probably not on Twitter after Game 1 checking what people are saying, but I'm sure some of that noise still probably seeps through. I'm curious just how much of it does seep through and how much does that affect you guys at this point?
I think as much as you want it to. However much attention you want to put on, whether you're reading it, hearing it, whatever it is. It comes with experience of knowing narratives change really quickly, and everybody's trying to guess what's going to happen in the series and overreacting or properly reacting to everything. So it never really gets to me as much in terms of it changing anything other than the expectations I have for myself out there on the court, or again the standard that I set for myself in terms of how I'm supposed to play. At the end of the day, it is just about winning the basketball game. So if we go out there and do that on Sunday, I'm sure whatever the noise is will be a little bit more favorable for us. But right now, we allowed Game 1 to get away from us, and we got to respond. Say what?
You use it as motivation?
Yes and no. Like, it's just kind of a through line of your entire career and every year that you play in this league and every experience you go through. It's not just, now we're in the finals, I need some more motivation to get the job done at all.
CJ in the middle?
What's up, Steph? Were you surprised that Gary wasn't in the Game 1 rotation, and when he is able to get back on the court, what does he bring to a series like this?
Well, he's just a defensive menace in terms of being able to guard a lot of different positions. He gets into the ball, makes people uncomfortable. He can disrupt a lot of different actions and different situations out there. He even has a knack on the offensive end, just being in the right place at the right time. It gives us great energy. So the fact that he's available is big, just because of what he's been through these last 3-4 weeks. I don't know if I was surprised he wasn't in, because I don't know too much about how he really feels and what the conversations is with coach and the training staff and all that. But the fact that he's available, I know he has to be ready, because his number can be called at any moment, and he has to go be the GP that we know him to be. He can affect this series that same way. guarding Jalen, guarding Jason, Marcus, whoever he's asked to guard, and giving us a huge boost of energy because that's what he does.
Last couple of questions, Rohan in the middle.
Steph, obviously you've seen every defense over the course of the playoffs, the finals. Boston in particular, I think, switched more than any team this season. What would you say in general are keys for a Warriors offense to beat teams that are switching? Over the years, what have you guys found success doing when you're trying to beat teams that are switching on you?
You got to take care of the basketball because the way we move bodies and move the ball, switching is designed to keep everything on the perimeter, keep bodies in between the man and the basket, try to force you into tough shots. But it also allows some confusion at times if you run your sets hard. One, if you get stops and you can run in transition because it's hard to match up and know where you're switching and all that type of stuff. And like I said, we've seen it before with Houston series, even OKC a little bit back in the day. And they have the personnel to be able to do it. So it's their bread and butter. It's why, what worked for them to be a number one defense in the league. But there are ways to attack it. And like I said, we scored 108 points, game one. That should be, plenty to win a game. We have to get stops ourselves on the other end to allow our offense to do what it does.
Last question, Ohm on the right.
Steph, Young with ESPN. The other day you said that you felt that this group is resilient. This is the first time, though, that this particular team has been down 0-1. What other moments in this postseason gives you that confidence of why they're resilient? And what did you see and feel from the team the last 48 hours or even this morning?
I think you look at how we responded Game 5 to Game 6 in the Memphis series. Game 4 to 5 in Dallas series. Even moments throughout the regular season where things were starting to get away from us a little bit at times, and kind of have your come to Jesus moment, how we need to play right, how we gonna flip the script and get things right back on the right track, and we usually responded pretty well, and it's a collective effort of a focus on the defensive end first and foremost, and just an understanding of how we all work together to create good shots on the offensive end. You said it's the first time we've been down 0-1. It's the first time for a lot of things with this particular group, and we're here in the finals for a reason because we figured it out along the way. And if we want to get back in the series, we got to figure it out again.
The Jesus moment?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Steph.